Can you see?
Yeah.
All right, you happy with that? Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, Live It Like Lisa here. Welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. So today we are going to be answering a couple of your questions. I've got Michael here with me, so we're going to be focusing on a few of the questions that relate to how we met and basically just relating to us as a couple, I guess, because there's a few sort of questions like in that sort of topic. So yeah, I thought I'd drag Mike's Man Cave on here to help answer some of those questions. And there's probably a few of the questions that I don't even know the answer to as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he says. So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
No, you start.
Okay. All right. So basically, we met when I joined karate. I was 13 years old and decided I wanted to join karate, and he was the instructor at the time. So he's 6 years older than me, so at the time he would have been 19, 20, and yeah, I was 13. And yeah, that's basically how we met. But funny thing is, like we lived in the same area, like we both lived. Was yours classed as Bosley Park as well? Yeah. So we both lived in the same suburb, which was Bosley Park back in the day. That's like a suburb of southwest Sydney. And we probably lived maybe about 15-minute walk from each other, from my house to your house, yeah. And the weird thing is, and I didn't find out this until we were together, because we'd never met prior to me joining karate, but Michael used to walk past my house pretty much every day on his way to school. And I mean, we never met during that time, and even if we did, it probably wouldn't have been like anything anyway. I mean, he would have been 15 looking at a 10-year-old or something, so it's, yeah, neither here nor there. But he said he does remember my dog always barking at him when he walked past. So, did he always used to bark when you walked past?
Yeah, it's a vicious beast.
Yeah, because look, my dog was a Labrador and he very rarely barked at anyone, but the ones that he did bark at, we were always thinking, oh, they must be no good, those people, because there was only certain people he would ever bark at and always bark at. So if he barked at you, that's saying a lot, isn't it? So yeah, it's just weird how sometimes the universe works. Like he basically walked past my house every single day, and we never even met. And then, yeah, I joined up karate, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess. So I never, look, my first impressions of him when I started, I was terrified of him actually, because, I mean, he doesn't exactly have the friendliest looking face. Like, he's not a very, I think you're halfway out of the frame. Yeah, like he doesn't have the friendliest looking face, and like, for a little 13-year-old, you know, coming up to this like 6 foot tall guy that's just like scowling all the time, I was literally terrified, and I very nearly didn't join up because I just thought he looked so mean and terrifying.
So you talk to shorter me.
Well, no, 6'2", but yeah, you know what I mean, 6'2". But yeah, so I was terrified when I very first met him, because I was a very not naive but very innocent, as in not very worldly.
Here we go.
I was still playing with Barbie dolls when I was like 13. Like I was in high school still playing with Barbie dolls on the weekend. So like I was pretty not, you know, I wasn't a worldly 13-year-old, put it that way. So yeah, do you remember like when I first joined up, or I was just one of the other little kids, one of the annoying kids that joined up? I didn't even think about it. So when did you actually first look at me or notice me in that way? Like, because I've never even asked that. I don't know. Was there a time? Was there a certain time when you actually...
when you started jogging past my house every day.
You would bring that up. That was much later, though. That was much later, I think.
Wearing no clothes, just running past?
I did not.
Well, I'm trying to wash my car.
I was all... Okay, so I very quickly developed a crush on him, and I was super fit. I was tiny as back then, like really skinny. Like I think I weighed 50 kilos sopping wet, and I used to run everywhere. Like I used to run and run and run. Like I didn't used to run, say, okay, I'm gonna do 5Ks today. I used to just go, okay, I'm gonna run for 3 hours and just like go out and run. And yeah, once I sort of started to develop a bit of a crush on him, I made sure my running route passed his house every time.
8 times a day.
It was not. That's such exaggeration. And I didn't wear skimpy clothes. I wasn't that kind of kid. I had on basically three-quarter jogging pants. I might have wore a little top or something, but not like sexy by any means. So is that when you first noticed me, when I used to run past your house? I didn't think you ever saw me.
I'm trying to wash the car. It's like...
I did not.
There's that naked girl running past. Oh, I've seen her before.
Is that seriously when you first noticed?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Know.
So, yeah, well, basically, I was 13 when I joined up karate, and we started officially going out when I was about 15, I think. Was just before my 16th birthday, I remember. I think it was around, a couple of months before my 16th birthday. And my mum wasn't happy, just mainly because of the age difference, because by that time he was 21 and I was like 15. And yeah, my mum was not happy at all about the age difference. But I guess they didn't really stop me, or they didn't really say anything to me about it. But yeah, I knew she wasn't really happy with the age difference. But did your parents like me? Did your parents have any problem with how young I was? Did they ever say anything to you about how young I was, or ask that? No, your parents didn't really care that much, did they? Not really.
I don't think they really cared about anything too much.
God, I'm trying to think of the timeline. So I finished school in 1992. We got engaged pretty much, I think I was about maybe 19 or 20 when we got engaged. And then, God, that feels like really young. Was that right? Is that time right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so I was about 19 or 20 when we got engaged. Then we bought our first house a couple of months after that, which was like a little townhouse at Edenza Park. And we moved into that townhouse pretty much the day before Christmas, I think it was. I remember it was all Christmas time when we moved in. That was in 94 when we moved into that house. And then 2 years later, we got married. And look, you know, in all honesty, the only reason we really got married is because we wanted to go on like a Fair Star cruise, you know, the P&O Fair Star. We're interested in doing one of those cruises. So we said, well, why don't we just get married before we go and then make the cruise our honeymoon? So, yeah.
That's how I got forced into it.
Forced into
Tricked.
it. Wow. No, and look, in all honesty, if we didn't go on that cruise, I probably wouldn't be married to this day. Like, we'd probably still be together, but marriage was never on the table. Really? Wow. So yeah, marriage was not really like a big priority for me, especially the wedding side of it. Oh my God, the wedding was just not... We didn't have a big wedding by any means. Like, there was literally 20 people there, just very close family and friends. I didn't want a wedding at all, actually. It was my mum and his mum that says, oh, you got to have a little bit of a wedding. But, you know, little did they know that a little bit of a wedding still takes the same amount of organising that a big wedding does, just in smaller numbers, you know. You still have to organise dresses, clothes, shoes for reception, everything that goes with it, invitations, flowers and all of that. But yeah, so that was, that brought us up to our wedding. So that was in 94. So we've been married, we'll be married 30 years next year.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's so long. That's so long. So do you have much to say about any of it?
What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
There's nothing to say.
I wanted to find out, like, when you sort of started looking at me in a different way. Like, was there a certain time when you said, "Oh, I noticed this girl now." Just jogging past the house.
Yeah, probably.
If you want to catch a guy, just jog past his house 8 times a day, apparently. Maybe if I did that now, I'd probably be skinny like I was back then. That moves on to the question, where did you live before here? So, like we were saying, we had our first house we bought in Adenza Park, which was a townhouse. We were there for about 10 years, was it? 10 years?
Much of the day.
Yeah. Then we built another house at West Hoxton, which again is in the southwest Sydney, Liverpool area. We stayed in that house for about 10 years. When we were living in Sydney, it was just regular suburban blocks. And we've always wanted to live in like a rural, couple of acres sort of setting. So what we decided to do, because by this time Michael was in the police, and we decided to sell everything in Sydney, like sell the house and everything, pay the mortgage off, whatever was left, put in the bank, save the money, and then we transferred through the police. Michael transferred to a remote location in Boomai. So it's about 100 k's north of Moree, if anyone knows New South Wales, which is pretty much right on the Queensland and New South Wales border, but about 8 hours inland. So yeah, pretty remote. And yeah, we decided to take up Michael decided to take up that position there, which they provided us with housing while we were out there. So any of the money that we had left over from the sale of our house, we just invested it and, tried to save more money, add to it, collect interest and build up our funds so that we could then, once the position timeline was up for that police position in Boomai, we could then purchase a couple of acres where we wanted. So yeah, we ended up, originally we were only going to be in Boomai for 3 years, weren't we? But we ended up staying there for 5. And it worked out good because the kids did pretty much all their primary school in Boomai. And if any of you know Boomai, which I'm pretty sure most of you won't because it's a tiny, tiny town. I think it's got like a population of less than 250 people. There was like less than 30 kids in the whole school from kindy to year 6. So yeah, they pretty much spent their whole primary school growing up in that town. And it was basically like Sydney in the 80s, wasn't it, growing up there? When you could let your kids go out all day long and just tell them to come home when the street lights came on, and you didn't have... Well, there pretty much wasn't, but we just said, come home before dark. They were out all day doing their own thing. You didn't have to worry about them. The only thing I used to panic about them out there was getting bitten by a brown snake, because we were like 100 k's away from any hospital, and yeah, brown snakes are pretty deadly. Like, they can kill a kid in less than half an hour if they get bitten. So yeah, we basically lived there, and yeah, they had the best childhood. They basically had an 80s style childhood where they were just running around without shoes on, no computer games, no internet, just being kids on their bikes, playing in the bush, playing in creeks, and just doing all the stuff that kids used to do back in the 80s before all the electronics. So it was good in that regard. So yeah, we spent 5 years there, and then in that time we were looking for some acreage to buy and build a house on. And after many months of looking, many years of looking, you found this place actually, didn't you? I nearly didn't come. I was actually visiting my dad's at the time, and he was sending me text messages going, oh, check this property out, check that property out. I think he sent me to about 5 different properties all around the port area, and every single one of them looked good on paper, but then when you got there, the site was either backing onto a bloody railway line, or it was steep, or there was just always something wrong with it. And then he finally sent me this, like the block of land for here, and it was like an hour away from port, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not traveling an hour away just to go and look at another shitty site again. But he goes, well, what else are you gonna do? You're not doing anything else while you're there. So I thought, oh, okay. So begrudgingly, I drove all the way here, and yeah, just the drive coming off the highway into where we are, it was just so scenic and so beautiful. I'm like, oh my God, please let this block of land turn out to be perfect, because it was so lovely. It's just everything we were looking for. We bought this block, and it's pretty much 10 years to the day that we bought the block, and it's about 7 years since we built the house now. So we bought the block first, waited a couple of years, and then started to build the house. So, and I think a couple of you are asking, like, yeah, whether we built it or it was already here. We actually built this house. It's a McDonald Jones home, and it's the Bronte Executive Lodge. So if you want to check out the website and what sort of style of house it is, that's the one that we ended up building. And yeah, so that brought us to here basically. What other questions I said? It said, what are your plans for retirement? So when the kids move out and when you retire. So what's your plans? You haven't said much during this video. I feel like I'm just yap, and you haven't said anything. It was like, why am I even here?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I thought you'd like be more, no, I didn't think you'd be more chatty, but I just thought you might want to put in your 2 cents. So what, okay, what's your, yeah, only just to dog me in that I used to jog past your house every day. So what's your plans for retirement or for when the kids move out? And do they include me? Because I think the ones I've heard don't even include me.
Well, you don't want to go travelling in the van.
I definitely don't want to go travelling in the van, no.
Well, there you go, then you stay here.
So that's your plans is that when you retire or just when the kids move out?
I think that's when it cools down a bit.
Oh, so next year in winter, you're going van lifing. Yeah,
Taking the deef.
Michael loves van lifing, and I can't think of anything worse. So yeah, I'll stay home and look after the house while him and the deef go van lifing. I might maybe come with you if you go to the snow one time with the deef. I might come as long as we get to sleep in a lodge or something rather than a van.
Lodge van, yeah.
Lodge van. Look, I'm not really planning on the kids moving out anytime soon. I actually can't even imagine that day. I don't want to imagine that day. In my head, they're just going to live here forever. So I'm not one of those parents that can't wait for their kids to move out. I really don't want them to move out. I basically said to them, stay home as long as you can, save as much money as you can.
Jamie's already gone, isn't he?
Well, basically.
I don't see him.
No, he's spent the whole week at his girlfriend's house this week because...
What about the week before?
He was home the week before.
He only comes here to fill up his esky.
Fill up his esky of food. No, he works like he's out before the sun comes up and doesn't get back until the sun comes down. So, and then he's like eats and sleeps and then he's off again the next day. But yeah, I prefer my kids to stay home as long as they can, save up as much money as they can, and then buy something, buy a house, buy a unit. That's my hope for the kids anyway. But look, at the end of the day, it's up to them. I mean, if they want to move out and do whatever they want to do that's different to what my thoughts are, I mean, there's nothing... I'm not going to be stopping them. It's they've got to choose their own life. But yeah, I'd love for them to just stay until they get married and then just move out into their new home. As for retirement, what about retirement? What about once we actually stop working? Are you still planning to move to Thailand and live there forever? Do YouTube off the beach?
I haven't really got any plans.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. For me, it's still 15 years away at least. But
yeah, it keeps slaving.
Yeah, I've still got to work to keep this whole family fed. But I don't know. I'm pretty simple. I don't have any grand plans. I don't feel the need to travel. I mean, I'd like to, but just the getting there is a little bit off-putting to me. Like, I'm not that good of a flyer on planes and stuff like that, so I don't know. I actually wouldn't mind going on a cruise or something, just like a 1 week or 2 week cruise again. I think that was really fun when we went.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's maybe something like that, but
I don't think they're as good anymore though.
probably not. You probably don't get half as much for the money, but I think they're still reasonably cheap. Like, I don't think they've gone up a lot.
Yeah, but you don't get anything, I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
If anyone's been on a cruise, especially like one from Australia, like one of the fair, I don't even know what they're called anymore, one of the, regular cruises, let us know if they're still any good. Like, I'd like to travel, but it's not like if I ever die and don't get to travel, I feel like I'd regret it. I'm not that interested. But yeah, I don't know. To me, I'd rather have the money in the bank and feel secure than waste 50 grand on a round the world trip or something. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like travel's just a waste of money. Like, it just...
Well, everything's so expensive now.
Yeah. Then again, if I saved up all the money I spent on Temu, I could probably afford a round the world trip. So Temu's not a waste of money, but, travel and experience is. But yeah.
And even just accommodation, like 2 days in Sydney, you're spending like $300-400.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Just to sleep.
Yeah, I think if I did travel, I'd probably travel to like somewhere like Thailand, like something that's very different to our lifestyle, like I'd love to visit America for all the commercial reasons, like I want to visit all the Walmart and, all the touristy stuff. I'd love to do America and, go to a lot of the, we watch a lot of the, there's a show on where this guy goes and tries different foods.
Oh, the eating one?
Yeah, that eating one where he tries different foods from food trucks here in Louisiana or a hot dog stand in New York. He's a black dude, isn't he? Pretty big dude, but he's so jolly. I can't think what this show is called. But
well, he started off on YouTube.
Yeah, and he just goes around. He's got a whole TV show now. I think it's not. Is it on Netflix or it's on regular TV, like SBS or something?
No, Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Yeah. Is it Foodie?
No, something Eats or something. No, Phil Eats is another one.
Oh, okay.
But no, I can't remember the
Yeah, I can't think what it is, but he just goes around to different places of America and tries, things that are kind of this area's famous for, and all these different foods he has. My God. Like, if I'm fat here now in Australia, I'd be one of those people you're carting out of a house on a crane if I lived in America. I swear to God, the food looks amazing over there. And just so, big portions and just massive things that you've never even thought of eating here. It's just, I drool every time I watch that show. That would be a good retirement, wouldn't it? Just travelling the world, trying all the different foods and YouTubing.
Well, that's what he does. He gets paid to do it.
That would be amazing. I'd love that. But yeah, I don't have any concrete plans. My plans will be just to not work anymore and enjoy all my hobbies, which, are just very simple hobbies, just art, craft, painting. Yeah, nothing that exciting. Just enjoy a bit of life without having to work 8 hours a day, really.
That would be good.
Yeah. Imagine just not having to get up early and work 8 hours every day.
No, I don't get up early anymore.
Nah.
I'm done with that.
Yep. And are we still recording? Yeah, we got half an hour of footage, but I feel like we haven't said much. I don't know what else we could have added there.
What have you got there?
Well, a lot of that was the stuff you didn't want to talk about. Tell us about your childhood when you came to Australia. Oh, well, just quickly, we can talk about, because someone asked, are we only children? I'm an only child, so that I don't have any brothers and sisters, and Michael's got one younger brother who's a year older than me, so he's 5 years younger than Michael. And another fun fact, me and his brother used to go to the same primary school. His brother, I think, was a year ahead of me at school, and I was in one of the classes with his brother's best friend, basically, that Roman guy. He was the other German guy. Yeah, we were in the same primary school. I was in the same class as his brother's best friend and still had no real knowledge of each other. No, I mean, you know, not that you ever would, because we were worlds apart when you're that young, but it's just weird how many times our lives have crossed paths, but we've never really. Yeah, dog tried to bite me. He probably had a reason to. Should have listened to my dog. He probably had reasons why he was barking at you. And so, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing really. No real romance in it all, is there? And we didn't even have, I didn't even have a proposal, like, oh, will you marry me moment.
No, because you forced me into it. You tricked me.
No.
It was a setup.
No, the whole proposal thing was just what I said about the honeymoon, because we wanted to go on a cruise. And so I just said to him, I mean, look, we'd already been together for 5 years by that time. And I kind of think we both knew that we would end up being together. It wasn't a matter of, if, you know, it was 5 years already. So, yeah, and we said, oh, well, I suggested it to him. I said, well, why don't we make the cruise our honeymoon?
Tricked me into it.
You're not the type
bought the tickets.
Nah, you're not the type of person that would get talked into anything, especially that.
My life is ruined.
Right.
And here we are.
And here we are today. All loved up, romantic as hell.
Yep.
So yeah, there was no proposal or anything. It was just basically we'll just make that our honeymoon and we'll just get married before we go. And so it was okay, we'll go, you know, do a bit of ring searching, see what rings you like, and yeah, it was just not. There was no romantic part of it. And that should have been an indication of how our life went after that, didn't it?
Pretty much.
How it started is pretty much how it's going now. No romance at all.
Wow.
But it's just easier to stay together. Who else am I going to live with? Really, honestly, I don't want to go through all that again. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I don't really know if I've missed anything. Look, if I've missed anything, because usually when I turn the camera on, every thought goes out of my head. I've got a few things written down, what a few people have asked. What about the
Deef? Where does he fit in?
Well, we've nearly had the Deef for a year now. It'll be a year just after Christmas. So this is his first Christmas with us. And yeah, we would have had him a year. I think it was it the 28th of December when you picked him up? 28th of December. Can you believe it? Already 1 year. And he's the loveliest dog. He's the love of our lives. He's so lovely. You weren't that interested in saying any of that, were you? You probably don't remember.
What's there to say?
Yeah, I don't know what's there to say. Just for context, Michael was born in Germany. Well, do you want to say it? You say your... Oh, I'll say mine. I just feel like I don't want to hog everyone's going to go on the video and go, oh, poor Michael doesn't get a word in edgewise.
I know. At least they can see what it's like to be me.
I just feel because I know you're not really a talkative person about yourself, so I don't want you to be awkward, but...
Yeah.
He's not normally like this. Normally you can't shut him up. All right, so a little quick background of my childhood. I was born in Manchester, England, Oldham to be exact, and I was 4 when we come to Australia. My parents decided to come to Australia because my mum's best friend from growing up, they were basically best friends since they were 2 years old. They had already moved out to Australia and was just telling my parents that, yeah, it's a much better life out here. So my parents So my parents decided to move out here. We came out here in 1978 and we were placed in government flats in Waterloo, pretty much near the Twin Towers, or what do they call them? The Suicide Towers. If you guys know Sydney area, anyone from Australia, we could see the Suicide Towers from our flat, so we were in that area. I think we spent a year there, and then my parents then bought their house in Bosley Park. And they bought their house and land in Bosley Park for $36,000. Can you believe it? Quarter-acre block and a little 3-bedroom house for $36,000. And then, yeah, so with them, we were living in Bosley Park since about the 1980s. And then, yeah, and so then you...
So it's amazing that when did they buy it?
1980 is when we moved in there.
Yeah, 1980. So in 3 years, the house price has doubled.
Yeah, because that's when your parents bought their house in Bosley Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was...
It didn't get a quarter-acre block.
No, it was a little bit smaller than...
Got about smaller block.
Yeah.
House was about a little bit bigger, probably.
Yeah, quite a bit bigger, I think.
But it still had no garage. I mean, my dad added all that later, and they paid $65,000.
Yeah, in 2 years' time, that doubled. That's crazy. What made your parents move here? So, how old were you when you moved here? About 12? 11 or 12. And Stefan would have been about 5, like round about the same age as me, I guess. Oh no, he would have been older, 7. So his parents always had like their own business. They never really worked for anyone. So his dad had like a window fitting business. And I think your mum used to do the books for him as well at that time. And then later on, they had like a German pension consultant business where they would help people that are here in Australia get their pension from Germany. They would organise all of that sort of stuff.
And Poland and all the other
Poland,
countries.
all of those sort of countries around there, Austria and all of that. And God, they were so successful in that business, weren't they? They had that much work, they couldn't even keep up with it. It was, yeah, just a really... How did they even stumble on doing that? Like, because that would just, your dad went from like doing the window business basically to doing that. Like, how did he think to do that? Or was it when you guys were trying? Your mum was doing it?
Well, she was doing it.
Ah, right. Oh, that's right, yeah. And then she couldn't keep up, so she said to your dad, you better start helping me. Yeah, so that was a really, I don't know. So did anyone take over that after? No. Yeah, so they always had their own business and were quite successful. My parents were just working class. My dad was just like worked in the foundry, and my mum was, my mum's like, what do you call it? Qualification or skill that she had was a tracer, which is an obsolete position now anyway, because it's all done like by computer, but basically used to trace the drawings for different plans and things. So yeah, she used to do that, and then just had odd jobs here and there after that sort of died out. Nothing really, just labour sort of jobs. I think she worked in a fabric company that did fabric. And then she worked on a chicken farm, sexing chickens, not having sex with chickens, but sorting the day-old chicks into boys and girls, you know, so that they could then get carted off and slaughtered and whatever they do with the little day-old chicks. Yeah, she did that for a while. And yeah, then they both retired, paid off their house and moved.
So not vegan? No,
definitely not vegan. And then my parents moved from Bosley Park up to Port, and that's it. I don't know what else to say. So if I've left anything out, or if you can think of anything else that I didn't mention or that I should have mentioned, I don't know. Our life's been pretty simple, pretty boring. We haven't lived dramatically. We've just basically been working all our lives and paying off all the debts, and yeah, we've not really...
Working multiple jobs.
We've not really done anything that exciting with our lives. Like we don't go on holidays. Like we've not been on like actual holidays, as in overseas holidays. The Fair Star cruise was basically the only time we've ever been overseas as such. Oh, and about that was one of the questions too, because I mentioned in my last vlog that I didn't exist for 10 years. That was because of that Fair Star cruise. So obviously when you're leaving the country, you need your passport, you need your visa, because you're heading out to Fiji and Vanuatu and all of those places. And got on the cruise, all the paperwork was checked, fine, everything's good. Went on the cruise for 2 weeks. And
well,
then,
we both didn't exist.
Yeah, well, he didn't exist either. And when we come back from the cruise, like we had bought artifacts and stuff from Fiji, like wooden boats and different things and that. And they warned us on the boat. They said, look, you need to get all these things checked by customs just to make sure that you're not bringing in any diseases into the country. There might be like pests or something on these wooden things or whatever. And we're like, yeah, fair enough. So we got off the boat. We went through where customs should have been. Like, mind you, like when you're getting off the boat, it's not like you're going into an airport kind of place. It was just off the dock and like it was basically an open shed. There was no one there. There was no one from customs checking anyone's bags. There was no one checking anyone's passports.
There was no one there at all.
There was no people there at all, like no officials there at all. And we're just looking around going, oh, is someone going to check all of this stuff we've brought back? And, you know, nothing. They said, no, just go straight through. So we walked straight through. So because no one in customs checked off that we've come back into the country, unbeknownst to us, we didn't exist in this country for about 10 years.
Well, it's only found out when we applied for the passport.
Yeah, because then we were going to go overseas. Where we were going to go? I can't remember what we were planning to do, but we applied for passports, right? And the paperwork was taking ages, so I rang up just to chase it up. And I said, I'm just, you know, trying to find out, you know, where our passports and all of that are, like, you know, what's the next step sort of thing. And she goes, oh, so what country are you calling from? I'm like, Australia. And she's like, and when did you arrive in Australia? I said, what are you talking about? I've lived here since I was 4 years old. And she's like, because I completely forgot about the cruise, like while I was talking to her. I didn't even remember that we'd been on a cruise and left.
Well, that was like 15 years before.
15 years, yeah, 15 years later this was. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been here since I was 4. And she's like, no, we've had you leaving the country in such and such a year. It would have been 1994. And we don't have any record of you ever coming back. I'm like, 1994? What are you like it didn't even click in my head. And she's like, yeah, you left for, you were, I think she mentioned Fiji or something. I'm like, oh yeah, we went on a cruise. She goes, yeah, but we don't have any record of you ever coming back. So, like, you basically don't exist in this country. I said, well, I've bloody been paying my taxes for the last 15 years. You've been collecting them just fine. And so she's like, oh, she fixed it all up there and then. And I think she even fixed yours up too, which was weird because I just thought, like, that's a personal thing. You'd think, you know, you'd have to ring up yourself. But she goes, oh, when did you come back? I said, well, basically 2 weeks after we left. Like, it was only a 2-week cruise. She goes, oh, I'll put it in that you're back in the country now. I said, well, thank you. That's kind. So that's why we were talking about the crypto thing. If we ever need to disappear, we're going to go on a cruise and just hop off at one of the ports that the cruise stops at and just never come back. And then there's no record of you ever being anywhere. I don't know if that's going to work, but we didn't exist for 10 years, so I'm not sure. Yeah, that was really odd. So that was the story about that anyway. But, you know, all the things like how strict and everything that they're supposed to be, and we literally bought in these wooden ships that were built from Fiji, and we had like some other like, I can't even remember what we bought, but stuff that should have been probably checked to make sure it wasn't bringing any diseases or pests or anything into the country, but there was just no one there. No one cared.
Must have been all right.
Must have been. So yeah, that is it. Oh, yeah, no, I'll talk about that in another vlog.
What?
So, no, I was going to tell them about Einstein, but I think I'll tell them about that in another vlog. Save that for another day.
What the hell's that?
Like, the Einstein, like, was around in our generation, like our times. Like, he only died in 1955. Did you know that? Like, Einstein was actually...
Well, yeah.
I literally thought he was around when Isaac Newton and all those, you know, like in the 1500s or like in the Isaac Newton era. For some reason, I thought that's when Einstein was around. I had no idea he was a modern day person. Like, it was only, I think I was looking at something about the atomic bomb. It was one of these YouTube things I was watching again. and it was going on about the atomic bomb that they dropped on Hiroshima, and they brought up Einstein's name, that he was like somehow, I don't know, something to do with it.
Well, he invented it.
And I'm like, hang on, like that was only in the 1940s, like what's going on? And I looked it up, I had no idea Albert Einstein was a modern day scientist. Like he only died in like the 1950s or something. Like, please tell me there's other people out there that thought he was like back in the 1500s. I don't know why I thought that, but I just thought he was around the same era as Isaac Newton and all of those, you know, the people that discovered this and that. So E equals MC squared was only just around in the 1900s. We didn't know about that before. Is that gravity, by the way? E equals MC squared. Is that gravity? Fuck, I don't even know. I only did general science at school. It's been too long. But, okay, comment below. Now, be honest, if you knew that Albert Einstein was a modern day scientist, as in he only just died in the 1950s, or did you also think he was maybe part of the 1500s era, like 1600s era? And be honest, please don't leave me standing here thinking I'm the only dickhead that didn't know that.
Oh, I'm done.
Yeah, all right, I think that'll be enough for today. This is like 48 minutes long and I've got to cut it down to 15. If I've left anything out or if there's anything else you want to know, add it to the comments below and I will make a proper list of stuff to go through and I'll go through each thing one by one. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope it answered some of your questions. Please subscribe to Mike's Man Cave if you love boring stuff. Have a look at it. Check out Mike's channel. He's got a channel if you didn't know, Mike's Man Cave. He just jumps on mine to grab free advertising.
You forced me into it.
I didn't really force you into it. There was no forcing. As soon as I mentioned it, he skipped into the bedroom to put his t-shirt on and skipped back. So yeah. Should we do the advent calendars? Let's do the advent calendars.
I've eaten mine already.
Have you eaten yours today? I'm always forgetting about it. What is today, the 6th? Let's quickly do the advent calendar. Where is it for today? Oh, up the top here. So what do we got? The 6th, can you see? Oh yeah, teddy bear. Yay. All right, happy Vlogmas Day 6 and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Bye for now.
And smash that subscribe button. Is that what you do? Or do you do it, you have to do it like this? Smash that subscribe button. You do it, show me how you do it. Do your outro, how you do it. What's your normal thing that you do?
You've got to, well, you have to subscribe to my channel to find out.
I have subscribed, I just haven't watched any videos. I live your videos, I don't need to watch them.